Here we go, everybody. Checking in week 2 of Brunswick and Beyond 2022. We're so fortunate to be here today with the cast and the panelists that we have. And I'm going to go ahead and do my introduction. Shakir Robinson graduated in Brunswick High back in 2011, but had the pleasure of spending 17 years in Brunswick, did K through 12 in the Glenn County school system. We're here for Brunswick and Beyond. Everybody that's watching on YouTube, this is the second year that we're doing it. And I really have like one vision with Brunswick and Beyond. You know, I believe in my heart that growing up in Brunswick and the growth that we receive from our teachers, our parents, our coaches, our pastors, our community leaders really prepares us to be successful in our local community in Brunswick, and then also to other countries outside or other cities outside of Brunswick. So Brunswick and Beyond. And I think I'm a true testament of that, being able to do a lot of projects in Brunswick, but also spanning out to, I think I've been to 28 countries so far. And I think what's been a part of that success is having those roots that's came from Brunswick, Georgia. And so we really have two goals with Brunswick and Beyond. The first goal is over the next 4 weeks, we're gonna have over 17 panelists. And the goal is for everybody that's tuning in, I want you guys to see yourself in one of these panelists. We have a diverse group from male, female, Black, white, Asian, Hispanic, low income, high income, working in professional field, working in the technical field. And so we got about everything that you could possibly want in these 17 panelists over the next 4 weeks. And so that's goal number one. And then goal number two is to see what's possible out there. Like I said, we got people that are accountants. We got people that work in the technical fields. We got a teacher that's gonna dial in. We got somebody that goes in investments. We had a singer that dialed in. So we wanted to just be able to provide a platform for all the students, juniors, seniors, sophomores, freshmen, to be able to see what's out there. What can I do after I graduate from Brunswick High or Glenn Academy or whatever high school that I go to? And so without further ado, we're gonna start with introductions. And for the cast that we got on, have already dialed in so far, I need you to answer 3 questions. 1, what's your name? Number 2, what high school did you go to? Please say the right answer. And then number 3, what year did you graduate from that high school? And so we're gonna go from left to right on my screen. And Gavin, you're up first, brother.
Great, thanks for having me. Shaq, I really appreciate what you're doing, and thanks to everyone else who's tuning in. So my name is Gavin Bach, and I graduated from Brunswick High School in 2016. Woo! Go Pirates.
Awesome, awesome. And then Al, man, I got you teed up.
Hey, how's it going? It's a pleasure to be here. My name's Altorian Jordan. I graduated from MCA. Go Buccaneers.
Oh,
and
yeah,
graduated 2000.
Here we go, McIntosh County in the house.
2011. Woo-hoo!
And then Deepa, please share.
All right, I'm Deepa Bhakta Patel. I graduated from Brunswick High in 2011 with Shaq.
Okay, awesome, word up. And then we're still waiting on Lindsey to dial in, but whenever she dials in, we can have her share her little story as well. But to kind of just set the field a little bit, because I know everybody doesn't know each other to a T. I know everybody pretty well. Either I played football or went to middle school back at Needwood or graduated with you from Brunswick High. I'm going to go around the horn real quick, and I just want everybody to share. If you had to describe yourself as a high school student, who were you? What were you interested in? What did you do? What things did you not do? What kind of clubs were you in? And then how would you describe yourself looking back at 17-year-old self? And then since we ended with you, we'll start with you. Deepa, you're up.
Oh gosh, so high school, I was the band kid. I was taking as many honors classes, extracurriculars, all kinds of stuff, working all the time after school as much as I possibly could. Honestly, looking back on it now, being like pushing 30, I don't know how I had the energy for it, truthfully, but I was super active with Brunswick High extracurriculars. I think we had like the science club that we initiated in the first couple years with Mr. Kip. We had student council, which I was super active in, helping planning all of the dances and all kinds of stuff, just super involved. So yeah, I am really proud of myself for doing all those things back then. Like I said, I look back and I don't know how I had all the energy for it, but yeah, that was pretty much me in a nutshell.
You're being super humble because the one fact that you left out, not only did you win Homecoming Queen in 2000, what was it, 2010, 2011, one of those years?
2010.
Yeah, awesome. Way to go. So humble. I love it. And then Al, how would you describe yourself out there in McIntosh, man? How would you describe yourself as a high school student?
Coming from a smaller county, definitely was definitely big on sports and things like that. Y'all always saw that football was going to be my way out. It never happened like that. I quit football in the 9th grade. Long story short, I joined band, learned how to play a musical instrument from the 9th grade all over. I learned how to play the percussion, watching the movie Drumline. Crazy story. I'll tell it at another time. From the 9th grade all the way to the 12th grade, I had an opportunity to go to college, but I was so focused on working for Georgia State Patrol. That was my main goal, my main option in life. I always wanted to work for them. Looking back at it now, I really wish I could have focused on college. Like, that was like that. I guess today's term, that was the key for success at that time. But I'm in a position now in life. It's really blessed me. The good Lord has really blessed me to be in a position that I am now.
I love it, man. We're going to dive into a little bit of that more in the decision making as you graduated high school and what you can provide to these high school students. But nevertheless, Gavin, what you got, man? Who are you? How would you describe yourself as a high school student?
Thanks. So I was involved in athletics, and if I had to give myself a word, I would say that I was a worker. So I was never really great at any particular sport, never saw a future in it, but I'd go out there and I'd work hard. And after practice, I'd go to work at Grandy's. And that's how I paid my car off and whatnot. And school was always important to me. I always tried to do the best I could. I was planning on being the first person in my family to go to college, and I was, and that's something that I'm very proud of. But for the most part, I mean, I was a social person and tried to talk to everyone and be friends with everyone.
With that smile,
Do you
man,
miss the Grandy's biscuits?
I could get you some Grandy's biscuits back then.
It's been a long time.
And they got a new Grandy's right down the street, so I think we all got to do a reunion down there.
Oh yeah.
Okay, but I don't think Lindsey is dialed in. If you have, please just give me a shout, Lindsey, whenever you dial in. But if not, Gavin, let's stay with you, man. You mentioned a little bit about how you were the first person to go to college in your family. You went to UGA. And kind of since you're still in the study mode right there, as you're getting your law degree, can you talk about that initial steps though of why you wanted to go to UGA, why did you want to leave Brunswick, why you didn't go to CCGA, and kind of what you expected, and what was your kind of mentality as you decided to go up to Athens?
Yeah, so I was really close to not going to UGA. I think I wanted to get out of Brunswick, at least for a little while at the time. My entire family is from Brunswick, has always lived there. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to expand sort of my scope or understanding. And so I almost went to Georgia College in Milledgeville and got into UGA, had to make a tough decision. And I decided to go there primarily because it's the state flagship institution. And I figured that based on the little bit that I knew at the time, that might provide me the most opportunity. And I felt like I made the right call in retrospect, which I'm glad that I did. And it served me well, but I didn't know what I wanted to do by any means. So I went to UGA with a major in environmental health science. Thank you, Mr. Kip. And then 2 months later, I did exactly what I swore to myself I wouldn't do, which was change my major. Mostly because math was kicking my butt freshman year. And I was like, this isn't for me. So I switched to political science. Politics is something that I was interested in high school. And so I figured I would see, what that's about.
Okay, so you kind of mentioned it a little bit. We're going to stay here for just a second. Last week, we talked about it with Cassidy Conley, but I want you to see what your take on it is. What advice would you give to these freshmen that want to switch their majors let's go back. High school students that don't know what they want to major in, what advice would you give to those high school seniors that are like, they don't know if they should go be an accountant or go to law, or what they might want to do?
Primarily the decision that you make right now is not writing your fate in the stars. you have an opportunity to make a decision now and to make a decision 3 months and 6 months and 9 months and a year from now. And you have to keep showing up with that commitment and dedication to, what it is you're passionate about at the time. I got into law because of my interest in politics. Now I look at politics in a very pessimistic way, and my passion is for the law. And so being in law school has really benefited me, and has, even in just the last year and a half being in law school, I've changed my mind about things many, many times. And so, you're not set in stone by any means. Just lean into what you think feels right now.
I love it, man. I think that's some solid grounded advice that you have for those. Al, you kind of hit on it a little bit earlier when you talked about you initially wanted to be a Georgia State patrolman, and then you did a career shift. And can you talk about that experience as far as why you're not a policeman right now? And then what is your current job title? What are you doing right now? What's your day-to-day life in your current profession that you're working in?
So what made me switch from being a Georgia State trooper was I had a good friend of mine from the local area. I'm pretty sure everybody knows him as MJ Mangrum. Passed away. Me and him was good friends. We were supposed to become state troopers together, actually. And after he passed away, I lost the taste for it, lost the feeling for actually going into law enforcement. So I, started working different type of jobs here and there. And I was introduced into the industrial field. I had no idea, didn't know how to read a tape measure, didn't know how to do any of those things. Oh man, I struggled every day. So I went from that to actually building up my resume to actually, right now, I currently just moved like probably Friday. I got here Sunday. I work actually currently right now work for a Tesla, the Gigabyte factory out here in Austin, Texas. I'm actually
Awesome.
a mechanic. I'm a mechanic out here.
Okay, awesome. So you're kind of like in that technical field. What advice would you give the high school students that back when we were going to high school, you had like the college prep opportunity, or you had like more of the technical side, whether you want to go like HVAC or what it may be. So what do you know so far about guys that that do go the technical route, and what kind of opportunities are there to make money and to provide a life that they may deem successful?
I can tell you this much right here. It's a very rewarding field. It's at a down slope right now. A lot of the older people, a lot of the older mechanics, the HVAC guys, the plumbers, the electricians, they're not doing, not as many people are doing it. I'm a big advocate for trade schools. I was one of those kids. I knew I wasn't gonna go to college, but I've always wanted to be a Georgia State trooper. So I had to figure out what I want, to figure out how I'm gonna do it, but I actually going through it. And the best advice I can also give you, if you love what you do, go full-fledged at it. Like, I fell in love with it, and I've had opportunities from working from South Georgia all the way to California, from California all the way to Canada. Just because of the trade I have, just because of the skills I have, I'm great. I'm good with my hands. And if you love it, man, go for it. Don't let nobody tell you different. Oh, you got to go to college to have a successful life. That's not true. You can honestly, they need plumbers in this world. They need electricians. They need guys, mechanics that can fix on cars. They need these skills in this world, male or female.
And also, I'm tracking that they can make a pretty good penny too. I think we talked about that last year when we weren't able to get you on the panel. But can you talk about the, what can you make per hour in some of these jobs that you've heard and some of your friends that you have?
Okay. Right now, starting out I'm what you consider as a millwright. A millwright is pretty much a jack of all trades, like a weld, torch, cut, anything, basic skills with my hand precision alignment, you name it. The start pay usually is like fresh out of high school. I wish I knew this information back then. Fresh out of high school, you can make up to $25 an hour to building up your resume and building up a rapport with your company. You could top out. It's really no top out. I know guys personally that are welders right now making $75, $85 an hour, getting paid every week, free benefits and things like that. I know it. I know it's a crazy amount coming out of high school.
No, I think that's good that you had to provide that insight and just share another opportunity that's out there if college isn't the number one route that everybody wants to go to. But I know one person that also did go to college, and her background says it right there. The UGA, recent national champions in college football. Deepa, I know you decided to leave Brunswick and go off to Athens as well, just like Gavin. What kind of went into that decision making, and then how did you choose your major specifically, and is that major useful to what you're doing today?
Yeah, so I also went to Georgia. Go Dogs. One of my new hires actually made this background for me, so I could celebrate every day for the next 40 years. So, but yeah, I decided to get out, very similar to Gavin. I wanted to get out of Brunswick. I had been there for a few years. I moved to Brunswick when I was in 8th grade. So relatively new to the area, got to make a lot of great friends that I still chat with today. But at that time, I just really wanted to get out, and I just knew that there was something more for me outside of Brunswick. And I was still a little nervous to go to be in Atlanta, but I thought Athens would be a decent fit for me. It was far enough away from family that I felt like I could be my own person and discover myself away from everyone else in my family, and just kind of have a fresh start of my own. So I actually went to Georgia thinking I was going to be an accountant. And I got into my first accounting class, and it did not go well at all. I actually dropped that class because you get a certain number of classes that you can kind of drop throughout the semester without having a penalty to your GPA. So I dropped it, and I still went to that class every single week. And that helped me when I retook the same class, and I was able to actually do well enough. I got a B the second time around, which in my mind it was not good enough, but it was still, I stuck with it, and I was proud of myself for getting through it the second time. But I then realized that I wanted to switch my major to something where I could deal with people, where I could kind of do a bunch of different things. You talked about being kind of a jack of all trades with your hands and doing things and stuff like that. And I felt like management was my way of being that jack of all trades in different types of industries and working with different people. And that led me to where I am today. So there's been a lot of different changes through that management field, but you got to do what you love.
I love it. So college definitely set you up on a path to be where you are today. But I think I would be remiss if we didn't mention what are the finances it takes to get through college. And Gavin, I know you're still going through some university right now, but for undergrad, what can these high schools look forward to as far as paying for college? Should they work through college? What is loans? What are the interest rates, scholarships, grants? Can you talk about that, like from your personal experience, and what advice, Gavin, would you give to these high school students as they prep for the ones that do want to go to college, and how to finance it?
Yeah, sure thing. So, part of the decision that I had to make when I chose to go to UGA was how am I going to pay for this? And so I was lucky enough to get I think the Hope Scholarship, Zell Miller. And so I had my tuition paid for, and I'd gotten the Dare to Be Your Best scholarship by none other than, Shaq here. And that's something that helped me out as well. And so I tried to pick up as many of those little contributions along the way. But I had to pay for food, and I was able to get a meal scholarship just by, applying a couple of years. And so that took care of that. I became an RA, which I got free housing for my last 2 years. And then I did take out some loans. And so I try to mitigate that as much as possible, but really the only way to do that is through, seeking out funding opportunities and really pushing yourself. So I decided I want to go on the study abroad my last year of college. And I was like, I don't know why I want to do this. I have absolutely no way to pay for it. And I ended up getting an internship in Loganville, Georgia, which is about 45 minutes from Athens. And so I drive there 3 days a week while being an RA as well. And I paid for the study abroad that way, and ultimately had a incredible experience. So when it comes to paying for college, when there's a will, there's a way, and it doesn't exactly work out perfectly every single time. You have to be willing to take the hit if it gets you to a place where you can reach your dreams.
I love it, man. I think what you just described, I didn't even know some of those details, but I think it's in the grain, it's in the blood, it's in the water back home in South Georgia, man. But yeah, I mean, what I hear, man, is just like a grinder, man. Like you did what you just could in the classroom. You worked. You weren't afraid to work, right? And to be an RA, you drove 3 days a week, however outside how far that was from Athens, man. But you made up your mind and wanted to do it, and you just like went to go get it, man. So I love to hear it. Thanks for sharing that story. I think it's super important, man. Al, I see you raising your hand, man. You got something? What you got?
Yes. So working in the field that I work in, we speak on college and things like that. The union pays you to go to school to actually learn the trade, whether it's the UBC. UBC is the millwright union or electrician union, the boilermaker union, whatever union it may be. They actually pay you to go to school to actually learn how to do the trade that you're going to top out at, that you're going to be successful at. Not only do you learn the trade, but you grow a brotherhood. You learn from different people. You learn different life skills, man. Like on the way, you go to different facilities and learning people in itself. It was, I didn't go that route. I actually went to work and actually worked my way on up to where I'm at now. But if I could have went back, I definitely would have joined a union and actually learned. People are pro union or against union, but I've seen the works of a union. It's a great field. That's the key right there.
So there you have it, folks. Another opportunity you can have if you come from humble beginnings. Maybe you don't have the financial resources to pay immediately for all your college. Another opportunity right here, and that's pretty much what we're here for, Brunswick and beyond. And then Deepa, I know you're a little bit into finance, a little bit. Your friends, I know, did you take out loans? Can you talk a little about interest rates for those that did take out loans and have to pay them back? What's the reality of that? Because sometimes everybody says go to college, but like, what's the cost of it? And after you graduate college, what are you paying back? What does that look like?
The reality of it is that going to school is very expensive. And then paying for it afterwards is even more expensive. So for those of you that may be thinking about taking out student loans and things like that, make sure that you're educating yourself as much as possible. There are tons of YouTube videos. There's tons of Google resources that you can possibly find. I mean, student loans in the beginning feel really, really like a great deal. Like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be able to pay for school and this is going to be easy. I'm going to pay for it after I get done. When I'm done, when I've graduated, I'm going to start working. It's going to be easy peasy, no problem. That's not exactly the case. I mean, interest rates are insane, and then make sure you understand what a compounding interest rate is, because that's what's going to get you. But I mean, the reality of it is paying for school is hard. Working your way through is hard. School is hard, but at the end, there is a light at the end of the tunnel once you do reach that zero amount. My husband and I are working on paying off student loans, and we're getting as close as we possibly can. And, we celebrate every little win. And sometimes it feels like it's never ending, but you've got to educate yourself on what those loans look like and how long it's going to take, and make sure you're using those resources that they provide you, because it is definitely tough.
I love it, and that's what we're here for. So you guys are listening, man. You guys reach out to me, right? We got panelists, you got Deepa, you got Gavin that's going through right now that can help get you guys on the right track. So don't say you didn't know. You watch this video, you got the resources right here. And then so Deepa, right? You graduate college, University of Georgia. You go find a job. Can you talk about what are the struggles when it comes to going to find a job after you have a degree with pretty much zero experience? Is it challenging to go through the interview process? Were you competitive at all? Did you have to know somebody? What was your experience, and what advice would you give to students as they look forward to where they want to be after college?
It's very scary to go out and talk to people that you don't want to talk to. I'm generally a very shy kid, I'd say. I don't like going out and like talking to somebody unless I've got a reason to, really. But networking is going to be your biggest asset, honestly. I mean, having friends in your cohort or just in your circle, knowing a friend of a friend, those types of things are really going to help you make those connections to get your foot in the door. That really is the hardest part. I come from a corporate background, and had I not known somebody to kind of help, refer me and push me through that door, it would have been really difficult to get to that point. And resume building is extremely important. Schools, internet. I was even looking at something yesterday online. It's like $3 to get some help for a resume builder. It's super easy to do nowadays, to get those resources. Instagram, there's tons of people that are sharing all these different types of tips and tools and just resources that you can use to have a really great, meaningful resume. That's the thing. Everything that you do, you want to show that you are a valuable person. And sometimes it's really difficult to feel like you are that valuable person, especially coming right out of high school, especially coming right out of college, those types of things. But get as much experience as you possibly can. Even if it's going to wait tables or, working at a front desk as a receptionist, whatever it is, all of those baby steps are really going to help you make it and be successful in the real world.
I love it, man. You guys want to go into detail? I got Deepa's contact information. You guys
yeah, please do reach out anytime.
She's living through it right now, going through the grind. But here we go. We got a special guest coming in as the fourth panelist, Lindsey Johnson. We went to not only Needwood together, but also Brunswick High. So we're going to recap some of the questions. Al, Gavin, hold on with me tight as I give Lindsey your opportunity to go through. So Lindsey, can you please start off? Your name, right? What high school did you go to and what year did you graduate?
So I'm Lindsey Johnson. I was Lindsey Ray in high school. I went to Brunswick High School and actually graduated early. I was supposed to graduate May of 2011, but due to block scheduling, I was able to graduate in December. So I did that and started at College of Coastal Georgia right outside of high school, like that January before I was supposed to graduate.
I love it. So you're early graduate. You went to College of Coastal Georgia. I love it. Hometown school. I started off there as well. What was it like going there? And did you transfer after? Did you get a 4-year degree there? And why did you decide to go to CCGA with the Mariners over there?
So I was still very young. I was only 17. So I started at College of Coastal Georgia just to kind of get my feet wet. I was the first in my family to go to college. And so I just needed to kind of see what I was doing, make sure college was the right step. And it definitely was. I worked in academic advising. So I was like a student, I forget the way you call it. I don't want to say a student worker, but so I worked as a student there. And so that was able to, make connections and just get to know people that way. And then a year later, I transferred to University of North Georgia in Dahlonega. And this is super silly, but I was looking at North Georgia schools. I just wanted to, something different and just get out of my hometown. My whole family's in Brunswick. I love Brunswick, but I just wanted to see something new. And so I went to UNG and fell in love. And I was supposed to visit Kennesaw, UNG, and another college, I don't remember, and I just fell in love with North Georgia and canceled my Kennesaw trip. But it was absolutely incredible. I loved it. And I did want to piggyback on what Deepa said. Paying student loans back is a toughie. So I just wanted to piggyback on that. Definitely do your research and don't just take out all this money because you can.
I love it. Okay. So you start off in Brunswick, right? You decide to go off beyond, right, and go up to UNG. What'd you study at UNG, and then how's that helped you get to where you are today? You can talk about where you are today as well.
Yes. So I I always knew I wanted to teach. I knew I wanted to be a teacher whenever I was 5. So I did early childhood and special education at UNG, and that took 4 years. So I transferred to North Georgia in January, but it's a cohort status. So it took 4.5 years due to, I had to join the cohort in August, as most people do with an education degree. And then after North Georgia, I immediately jumped into my master's at Liberty University, and then immediately jumped into my specialist at Piedmont University, because everyone will tell you as a teacher, the only way to make money is to get your degrees. And so before we had kids, I was like, well, I've just got to do it now. And so I started teaching. I was student teaching my junior and senior year. My senior year, I student taught at a school I loved, and I have always heard that you are on an interview every single day. So when you're student teaching, if you go that route, you need to dress the part every single day. You are on an interview every day. You do not play into any gossip. You don't talk negative. You are on an interview every day. And I took that to heart. And I got hired in March before I even graduated, because I put my best foot forward every day. And I was selling myself every day. Like, hey, I love this school. I want to be here. I want to teach here. And I did. And I had the opportunity, which is kind of rare. A teacher was going on maternity leave, and they hired me to be the long-term sub. So I was able to kind of get that experience before too. So it's not, out of the realm of possibility. Like, if you are interested in education and you have that possibility, like 100, or the opportunity, 100% take it, because it threw me out there and I was scared to death, but it just helped shape me as a teacher. It gave me a little bit of extra time to, I don't want to say mess up, but I'm still a student. I'm still learning. I don't even have my degree yet. And I was trusted to take over a classroom. I taught for 7 years, and I did take off this year. I had a little boy last year and did some virtual teaching, and just decided to take a few years off, but I will 100% go back, because I just feel like I have too much invested in education to stop, and I absolutely love it. So if education is something that anyone's interested in, some people will discourage it, but I am a huge advocate for it. I think it's the best thing I've ever done in my life. I love kids. I love teaching kids. And it's the most rewarding job. There's nothing that you get rewarded for every single day than teaching a child and seeing them go from literally nothing at the beginning of the year to light years. It feels like, a second grader, which is what I teach, comes into me, barely able to read, and they leave me reading chapter books. It's just insane. It's incredible. So if education is something that someone's interested in, don't let anyone discourage you. It is so incredible.
Hey, we need to hear that. And if you guys are interested in education, you guys hit me up. I can put you in contact with Lindsey, and we'll get you set up for success. Okay, so going back, Al, you mentioned something, man. You said you went off to California, you went off to Canada. It sounds like you were on that Travel with Shaq tour, man. But what'd you learn, man? I know it's those places are a little bit different from Brunswick. What'd you kind of learn in those travels and the ability to work in different parts of the U.S. and even different countries? What'd you learn along the way?
It's definitely a culture difference. I can tell you this much right here. From me coming from South Georgia all the way to Canada. For one, it's cold. It's definitely cold, y'all. If you ever go there, please put on a jacket, please. Number two is people in the South. We tend to have more manners than them, but you learn their culture, why they act like that. And I'm a person that asks questions in the process of me doing something. Hey, why are we doing this right here? What kind of upbringing do you have? I'm there for 12 hours. I'm there for a whole month, 2 months. We're gonna learn each other. You're gonna learn people in the process. I learned people from the West Coast all the way to Canada, all the way from Florida, so forth, so habit, many states, being a traveling contractor. But the best advice I can tell you is a lot of people don't do this. Just go out there and do it. Have faith in yourself. Step out on faith. That's the biggest thing. Step out on faith. Let nobody deter you from whatever your goals may be. If you want to be a teacher, you want to be a welder, don't let nobody tell you nothing different. Just go out there and step out of faith. I come from South Georgia all the way in Austin, Texas right now in 3 days. Left everything in Georgia to move here because of a job. I stepped out on faith. People told me not to do it.
Yep. I like it, man. Not only are you stepping out on faith, but you're stepping out on, now these high school students have resources, man, that they can tap into. Like I said, all these 17 panelists, man, it's one click away. How I got all these panelists to be on here was like a Facebook, Instagram message away, and they all volunteered. And so one thing I do want to hit, though, Gavin, man, you're in college, going through the 4 years at UGA. I know you're a man of faith. You know, the guys that have a background of faith coming through high school, what can they expect when they go off to college and they're away from that system that they may have had for 16 years or 17 years in Brunswick, and now they're at UNG or they're at UGA or they're out in Texas, right, doing their technical thing. What advice would you give to someone that wants to continue their faith journey as they pursue it outside of Brunswick?
It's gonna be hard. You know, when you leave Brunswick and you go and you do whatever, whether you go to college or you start a job elsewhere, your life is going to change. You're going to be faced with challenges that you've never seen before. And that's still the case for me. I'm 23. I live in Massachusetts right now, but every day I feel like I'm consciously becoming more of an adult and growing out of, you know, my childlike self. And in that process, I think you have to challenge yourself every day to look within and to reconnect with, you know, the things that are important to you, whether it's your faith or you know, your connection with your family or your loved ones and friends. Even thinking of home, I think is a way to motivate yourself and to sort of pull yourself out of a rut if you're in it, and help you get over any type of obstacle.
I love it, man. Solid.
Yeah. You can ask a follow-up question. I don't know if I answered that well, but
no. I think that's good, man. It's gonna be a challenge. In short, I mean, I've experienced it myself. It's a challenge, man. Once you're away from everything that you know, to continue, you know, if you want to continue that faith journey or whatever it may be, or like you said, mentioned earlier, like your connections with your family, you're not there eating dinner with them every day. So, you know, it's on you to make that effort to maintain those relationships. And then Lindsey, I'll be remiss, man. I want to ask you one more question before we go around the horn one last time and wrap it up. What's something that students, you know, as we're all students in Brunswick Higher Glen Academy, what's something that teachers do that students may not realize, but is super important? Now that you're in the seat of a teacher, you see it on your day-to-day basis. Like, what's something that you guys do that maybe these students can be like more appreciative of now that you're actually in the seat of being a teacher?
So I'm in the elementary, you know, age group. And so I think it's harder as you get into middle and high school, but I don't think in the elementary realm anyways, I don't think the parents, you know, so let's talk about the parents as the, you know, elementary, but like as middle and high school, I don't think the parents or students realize how much the teachers care. I don't think that every teacher cares as much as, you know, I don't think it's just a random, like, oh, all these teachers care, you know, they care. Like, you will make connections with some kids that are stronger than others. And when your mom was in education, you know how that is. Like, you obviously, you connect with people in general, you know, more than others, but I don't think people realize how much we really care. I mean, I still to this day, I'm thinking about some of the students that I taught my very first year, you know, like, I'm like, what's Nick doing these days? Like, I wonder how he's doing. I miss him. Like, this student was having a really rough time, you know, maybe his parents were in jail, or, you know, like, I've had students who are in foster care and then they leave foster care and I never see them again. Like, you worry about them, you wonder about them, and you love them. And everyone said, like, once you have kids, like, it's different. It's not. I mean, I truly mean when I say, like, I love every single student I've ever taught, no matter of their background. I mean, if they come in and they're mad at me, or they're mad at the world, they're upset with their home life, or they're upset with something they're going in, you know, they might take that out on me, but it's my job to love them first and teach them second. If you aren't being loved and you don't feel loved or you don't feel safe, you're not going to give it your all. So I truly just don't think that parents and then students, as they get older, they don't realize how much a teacher, like, just puts in and how much they truly care. That's the biggest thing. And I know earlier you said this, and I wanted to say, you know, you said, you know, making connections and stuff, you know, like the interview process after college or after high school. I would say, don't burn bridges. In high school, in college, in life, there's someone out there who you can get a connection somehow. Like, let's say I moved to Massachusetts. I mean, I might have a new friend that hey, I have no idea what I'm doing here. Where do I go? What do I do? Where's a good place to eat? That, or, hey, do you know of any teaching jobs available? Do you know of anyone in education who can help me find a job, or someone in Texas? I mean, you just never know who can, I don't want to say like help you. You're not looking for someone to help you, but you're looking for connections and friendships and people to just kind of lead you on a journey through life. So I would just say, like, be nice to people and like don't burn bridges. I mean, high school is tough. It's tough. And I mean, I had a great high school experience, but I would just say be nice to people. And if someone's not nice, then kill them with kindness, because life's tough. And high school is probably the toughest part of it all, I personally think. But I don't know. I just think that once you leave high school, the world's your oyster. And, like someone just said before me, I'm sorry, I forgot your name, but like, jump out on faith, do it. Like, what? Don't, the world's your oyster.
Nope, I'm with it. And I think you said love them first and teach them second. I'm sitting here right now, notes myself, so don't think I'm the guru, man. I'm taking notes. But as we like to stay on schedule, right? I want to give one last chance to every single panelist to give one last piece of advice they'll give the students, or one last parting note that you think these students should know as they transition up to Brunswick and beyond. And so we'll leave it to lead us off with Deepa. What's one last note that you may have, something you didn't say that you want these kids to make sure that they get?
I was sitting here taking notes as well as you guys are talking, because, it's never too late to learn. And, that this session here is evident of that. I mean, I've learned so much just sitting with you all here for the last 45 minutes. I mean, this has been really, really awesome. So thank you, Shakir, for putting this together. The other thing that I wrote down here was, I think, Al, you were talking about something as well about things, don't let people stop you. And even when times get tough, the best things that happen to you will be the scariest, and they will probably be the hardest thing that you feel like you're doing in that moment, but you're going to come out of it and you're going to feel like you've accomplished something, and you're going to feel like, am I allowed to say badass? I mean, you're going to feel great. Like, you're going to feel like, man, I've accomplished something and nothing's going to stop me. So don't be afraid of those challenges that come your way. Life is scary, and it's only going to stay scary until you jump that hurdle, until you take on that challenge, until you push yourself, and you can do it. Baby steps. All you have to do is get 1% better each day, and you're going to be able to make it happen. So don't be afraid to take on those challenges.
Deepa, you're a blessing. I love it every time you talk to me. I love it. Thank you for sharing. Al, what you got for us, man? One last parting shot as we stay in the military.
The best thing I could honestly tell you guys, whether you be a teacher or you be a millwright or you be an actor or singer, whatever it may be, have manners, have respect for everybody. No matter how they treat you in life, have respect for them. Treat them with respect. I know it sounds crazy, it sounds cliche, yes sir, no sir. My mom always told me manners will take you where money won't. She's always told me that. I never understood that. Look at me today. It's by having manners. She's always said that. She's always preached that to me, and I would tell anybody, have manners. The same person that sweeps the floor is the same person you can have respect for. Treat him as if he's a millionaire right there. You never know what you can learn from him. That's the biggest thing I always can tell anybody right there.
I love it, man. That's a good reminder, man. We all learned that being from Brunswick, Georgia. So I appreciate you just giving us that little tidbit reminder. I wrote it down. I plan on sharing it with my guys and women too. Who we got coming up next? Gavin, man, your last part note for us. What you got? Hit us with some wisdom, please, and thank you.
Well, I can definitely second that on the manners. I mean, growing up, I probably would have gotten smacked if I wasn't acting right. So that's definitely instilled in me. If I could tell myself in high school, like a piece of advice, I would say to bet on myself. If you're not betting on yourself every day, then you're most likely not going to accomplish your goals. You're not going to get past the fear or the anxiety or the distractions or other people's opinions, which may or may not be valuable. But you have to trust in yourself. And in doing so, you have to reward effort and not results. you know whether or not you're giving 100% or you're giving 50. And you know when you feel burnt out and you need a break. And so, use the intuition that is, has been gifted to you to your advantage, and show up and do the work. And usually the good work is hard work.
The good work. I'm gonna write this down, man. One second. The good work is hard work. Hey, I like that. And I learned that lesson too, man. Like, you don't need your boss to tell you how you're doing. You don't need your person next to you to tell you how you're doing. Go home, go to Walmart, buy a mirror, and every night look in the mirror, and you know if you're putting in the work or not, right? We don't need validation from other people, from Instagram, from our bosses. Like, deep down, when you put your head on that bed or wherever you sleep, on a cardboard box, that's a joke. But you know how well or how not well you put in the effort. Okay, enough of my spiel. Lindsey, one last parting shot. Please bless us with your words.
I'm kind of piggybacking on what Al said, but one thing that my grandparents told me growing up was you treat the CEO the same way you treat the janitor. And you do. I mean, it doesn't matter what you're doing, or, like, if you are a CEO of the company, I mean, you are not better than anyone else. Everyone puts their pants on, their shoes on the same way every morning. And I mean, just to remember that, I mean, everyone is the same. We're all trying to get through life. Everyone's going through something, and just to be cognizant of that. I mean, especially in 2022, mental health is such an important thing and a hot topic. And I mean, it should have always been, but take care of you. And while doing that, just respect yourself and respect others. I mean, everyone's going through something, and just to remember that.
I love it. Thanks for kind of bringing it all home for us.
And thanks.
And the last part I know I have is you're welcome. You see it on the cast, man. You've seen it on week 1. Now you're seeing it on week 2. What I've learned, right, being in the Marines and then seeing like what everybody does, right, is like we're all a part of the one body, right? Teachers may be the hands, right? What Deepa's doing in supply chain may be the legs, right? What Gavin's doing may be the heart. What Al's doing may be the neck, right? But can you imagine trying to live a life without having your neck, or without having your heart, or not having your arm, or not having your hand, right? And so nobody's job is more important than the other. We all come together as a community to make it work, so we can all walk together in the right direction as a team. And what they ended with the note was, you treat the janitor the same way you treat the CEO. That's all a part of it. Can you imagine not having a CEO? Can you imagine not having a janitor? That's why every single job is important. And that's why we have these panels and so on for the next 5 weeks, just sharing these opportunities. Well, I respect everybody's time. Again, I'm super, super grateful. Thanks, Lindsey, Deepa, Gavin, Al. You guys dropped so many gems, right? We got it recorded, and so I'll share the links with everybody. But until then, we'll see you guys on week 3 of Brunswick and beyond.